Hey everyone, my name is Ernesto, and as I haven't done really that much game development in the last couple weeks, today I want to talk about scene management, as it's something I've been asked before how I manage that. And if you really don't know what that is, if you develop a game for a bit of a longer time, there will be a point where you will want to separate out different environments or locations into scenes. It really helps performance and it helps you keep track of what is where. So that means that you don't have everything in one large scene, but you separate out, for example, buildings into their own separate scenes and different environments, and you put loading screens between them, as many games have done over many years. With open world games, it's not as common anymore, but those games still have, for example, a main menu or buildings you have to go through a short loading screen to get into. So they still have these somewhere. They are mostly hidden a bit better, for example, through cutscenes. A lot of games use cutscenes to make you not notice that there is a loading screen there. And as I'm making a game with like old Zelda game influence, separating out these different environments really is a must-have to get that feeling across. And it really helps me to keep track of what is in what scene. And the easiest way of handling going between two of those scenes would be to basically unload a scene and then load in the next scene, right? But that has a few issues when it gets a little bit more complicated. As soon as you want to keep some of the information in the first scene, it gets a little bit difficult because everything in that scene gets destroyed once we unload it. And that means everything that we might want to keep, like information about the player, maybe a global UI like a health bar, we have to reinstantiate or, put it into the next scene as well in order for it to be there. And we might have to save some information into a file before changing scenes in order for us to keep those information, and it gets just a little bit messy. So my solution to that issue is to do a bit of nesting. So for that to work, you have to know that Unity does not only support you loading in one scene, but multiple scenes at once. Obviously, you don't want to load in the same scene twice. That can get a little bit weird. But what we can do is create a pure management scene that doesn't have any game objects or any physical objects in it itself. It only carries some scripts that help us manage different parts of our game. And it's really important to know, if you don't know like basic programming rules, please create a different script for each different system of your game. So it's much better to have 10 small scripts than one giant one. Otherwise, you will never find again where you put something in that giant script. But if you know, this is my inventory script, it contains everything about the inventory. And this is my inventory UI script, it contains all the UI information specifically just for the inventory. Then it's very easy to keep track of where everything is. So we put all these, global management scripts in a global management scene. And then we create a game manager script that has the function to load in a different scene on top of this management scene, so additive. And all the objects within that scene, they can still access the scripts we put in our management scene if we mark them as singletons. So everything within that scene just references this game manager, which then again references a different system within our management scene. That also means obviously this game manager is going to be quite big, but it doesn't really have much function in itself. It just basically diverts you to a different system again. So it really doesn't know what all these systems do. It just something asks for the inventory, it gives it the inventory. And this way we have a really clean system of knowing where everything gets the information from. So if something does not work, we can just go in and be like, okay, there has to be an issue with the connection between the game manager and that specific object, and maybe the system the game manager is referencing, but the object should never reference the system itself directly. It always goes through the game manager. So this way it makes it much easier to debug something. So if something doesn't work, you know, this is the only connection where something can go wrong. There's no direct communication. And we can use this for basically any system we want to be globally available in our game. So I am using it, for example, for the UI. So we have the inventory, for example, our health bar. I had a stamina bar, but this one's gone now. I will talk about that in the next devlog as well. A pause menu where you can go to the main menu, which is also a different scene that gets loaded on top. And this really allows you to organize your project much cleaner than if you had this system in every single scene, or if you had every system in every single scene. You'd have to really, you know, be smart about your management to keep track of where everything is and what is referencing what, and why something might not be working in one scene and something is working in a different scene. You know, stuff can get crazy if you get a little bit more complicated. And I have like, I don't know, 8 systems at this point, and there's like a sound and a music manager and an inventory manager and like a menu manager. And there's just so much at a certain point that it's really difficult to manage it if you want to manage it in different scenes at once. So having one management scene that is on a different level than everything else really helped me to have a more organized project in general. And it really makes it also easier to manage the scenes because there's just less stuff in each scene. If you have too much things in that scene, or you notice that if something is really needed in every scene, but you kind of have it in every scene anyway, it might be time to just abstract it a level out and put it in its own separate management scene. So what do you think of this system? What do you think of my rambling about it? Do you think it might help you in your next project? I'd really be interested to know. Please leave me a comment down below. And if you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like. You know, it's free. I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will be out with a new devlog sometime this year. I have to see. I haven't done that much game development. There hasn't been that much time, but as soon as there's something to say, I will be back. All right. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.